Hello, my name's Kate. This is Flosstube number 16. It is Saturday the 28th of June, 2025. It has not been 7 years since my last Flosstube. That was last time. Partly because I wasn't sure how I was going to edit the one that went up fairly recently, end of May, because the way I used to do them wouldn't work anymore. But it turned out that the free editing video program that I'd found to use wasn't free after all, so I had to pay for a month's subscription. So you've got this one because I'm being bloody stubborn, and I was at least going to get 2 videos out of it. You will get more, so there will be more. But hello, yes, welcome back. It's Saturday. I was going to try and film this. It's just about Saturday afternoon. It's about 12:30. I was going to try and film this morning while my partner took our daughter to the local, it's about 20 minutes away, local ice hockey rink to see about lessons. But there was a tournament on, and they came back earlier, and I was still setting up. So he's now gone out. She's downstairs. I've told her I'm filming. She's 13. She will either turn up and be annoying, or she will just, no, she won't be here. That's where we are with that. I realised after filming last time that, again, what I can see, which is to there and to there, is a lot less than you can see. So you can also, this time you can see the nice green that this office will be. My office room will be. It was yellow when Megan moved into it as a baby. She's now in a bigger room. It's now half junk room, half office. It will eventually be green with built-in bookcases and built-in desk and all loveliness. But right now it is not. But it does. I didn't have anything on this wall before. The Hobbiton poster turned up last time. Natasha Black Widow came out of Megan's room because she's replacing everything with hockey posters. And I thought, I'll put it up here. Put it up there. Try and give you guys something to look at when I haven't put up pictures of projects. Anyway, I'm sorry, I've waffled for nearly 2.5 minutes. You want to see some stitching. So, last time I had mentioned that I was working on Ragnarok by Long Dog, which is being done. Sorry, I am picking up this. Pam, Ditsy Daisy Crafts, was talking about how she organises her stuff on note cards, and I was like, where's the box that I did, that I spent like a week doing at one point in 2016 when I was filming? So I found it, and then I started adding things to it. So Ragnarok by Ink Circles, which is being stitched 1/1 on 32 count Murano in Fire Rooster by Chromatic Alchemy. This was picked because of the fabric. 1/1 was picked because that was what it meant, that it would fit on the fabric. So I went all the way across the top. I did this last time, but you might be new. Pictures. I went all the way across so that I knew it would fit, and that's where we are with that. So it came up in, this had come up in WIPGO for May as a page finish. This is what I needed to do to get a page finish. I still haven't got a page finish, but I did get a lot more done. So this is where we are with that one. You can see it's the yellow and then it's going into the orange. There it gets a lot dark around the back. So I think last time I'd done squirrel, I'd done some oak leaf. I'd just about come down and touched the back of this raven and done that kind of sticky out bit. I'm not sure, like it's going to be something, it will make sense. I've done a bit of a butterfly but not finished it because so yeah, so the picture from last time is up there now. This is where I am now. I think I've come in and done all the way across here because that's the page break, and have been concentrating on filling in this raven. I had to put it down because I was working on this at different points, but I'd been doing a lot of stitching in daft o'clock UK time while I was watching Stanley Cup games in the NHL. And there was one particularly bad Edmonton Oilers game against the Florida Panthers, we will not mention them again, where I'd been filling in the raven, And I suddenly thought, there's this really weird bit of yellow fluff. Why is there yellow fluff? And what I suspect had happened, it's about 3 rows up now and buried. There's a slight bobble that I can feel. There's this weird bit of yellow fluff. And what I think had happened is at some point I'd pulled a little bit too tight and possibly done something weird to one of these threads, because the way it was sticking up was almost like I'd snapped one of the vertical, I can't remember which way's warp and which way's weft, but I'd snapped one of the vertical threads and it was sticking out. It's been over sewn, it's in there somewhere, but I then didn't want to work on this while I was going to be pulling it like that, because it's tiny stitches. I'm not used to them. I can see pretty easily. I've got -6 prescription, but if I do this, I can only see to there. I can focus to there. So that's not very far, but it means I don't need a magnifier. Ow. I don't need a magnifier when I'm working on this. I can just push my glasses down or take them off and then work on it. But I didn't want to do it while I was slightly stressed, is what we will. Slightly stressed is the terminology for that. But the Stanley Cup is done. My boys didn't win it again. Megan was overjoyed that her adopted, she's mostly an Anaheim Ducks fan. She's a little bit a Calgary Flames fan. There's a couple of players she really likes who both just happen to play for Florida right now. Alas. So it is what it is. But anyway. So yeah, I still haven't finished the page. So that is still an incomplete WIPGO. It was number 19 in May when that was called. I'm just looking at my piece of paper, which you will have had on the screen if I remember to put it in. Yeah, that was number 19, which was a page finish on Ragnarok. I still have not page finished Ragnarok, but we will get there. We will get there. Yeah, we will, because I'm missing it. I'm missing it. I deliberately took a break from it because I didn't want to damage it. And so I need to fill in that raven. I think there's got to be something here, because that's a page break. So there must be something in here, and I know there is a leaf, at least a chunk of a leaf to go in there. So that's Ragnarok. The next, she said, project to pick up her card. So WIPGO. WIPGO for June. The calls were 21 and 23. So 21 for me was 6 lengths of a project of Megan's choosing, my daughter, and she'd picked Enchanted Dragon Castle again, because I'd been working on that one as her pull for May. She wanted it back. This is what that will look like. It's a discontinued kit from Bothy Threads. They did a whole load of silhouette ones. I bought this one in, I might have bought it in 2015. I might have bought it in 2016. I started it in 2016. I definitely started it in 2016. It is 14 count Ada that was in the kit from Pole Stitches, and it is stitched with 3 strands of black and some gold and silver metallics. This is what it looked like last time you saw it. This is what it looks like now. You can't really see, like, the fabric isn't showing us anything. If I show you the back, please don't judge my back, you can see that bit, there's some yellowy stuff there, there's some yellowy stuff over here, there's some yellowy stuff over there where that's the moon. But this is where we are. So again, like, each of these is just solid. That's looking gappy, but it doesn't look so gappy in person. Who knows? Yeah, I did a tower. I've stitched all the way along here so that I could start doing this bit, and I think this is going to be the dragon's kind of cavern. But I know I'm gonna, like, next time this gets cold, or it lives up here in my office, and it's one of those ones where when we have occasionally we'll have like work kind of regional calls where I'm not, so it's keep your camera off and keep your mic off, and you have to be there and listen to it, but not necessarily contribute, they'll give you the slides afterwards for taking, so you don't have to take notes during the meeting, you know, I will sit and fill in a block or do little uppy downy bits, you know. So that's that one. That's where we are with that. Yes, so that was 21. 20, as you can see, also, I know, yes, it's a chart, but I don't have a consistency with pens depending on when I've been in the mood to work on it. So there's been different colours at different times. It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, so the other call for June was 23, which was to do 3 hours on what I call Alpine, which is the Bayun forest cap from OwlForest Embroidery. I had done the whale previously, and then I bought the kit for this, and I think I started this in 2021, I think. Anyway, this is what it looked like last time. I haven't looked at that picture, so I don't know where I was last time. I can only give you a rough guesstimate. It's not in any kind of framey hoop. So here we are. The fabric came in the kit. It's got very slight mottling on it at different points. They are absolutely gorgeous over-dyed threads. Some of the areas you can see that much more clearly than others. You can sort of see it. So the stripe. So what I worked on last time was, I think I'd done the trees and the mouses or rats, whatever. I was doing up and down, kind of doing the tail. Yeah, that's the front end of the tail, back end of the tail to go round to do that bit. So I basically went up and down, up and down, up and down. That was the bit that would fit in the hoop. And then obviously that's all that lovely variegated blue. And I've come across and done some of the in-betweeny bits. And then I think I might have done that tree. And that's where I stopped. For that one, I don't think it's on my WIPGO board again. It isn't. I'd only put it on there once, but I have two more to do, where they are basically 6 lengths of a project that Megan picks, and 3 more to do where it's 6 lengths of a project that Anthony picks. So when they come up, if they pick this will get picked up again, and we'll do some more work on them. I would like to do, there's one that's like a harpy kind of thing, and I'd love to do that, but again, I'd want to get it. I had the whale as a kit. I call the whale Alexi, and then this is Alpine, but I'd like to do the harpy lady, but as the kit. But OwlForest Embroidery is a Russian company, so at the moment I'm holding fire on that. No offense to OwlForest at all, but yeah, that's what we're doing with that one. Not because of OwlForest's point of view, just because of the country they happen to be from. It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, so July's numbers were called the other day. So one of them was 2, which for me is a page finish on Frozen by Donna Stitch, which I know I showed you last time. I had been working on this as well during Midnight NHL games. I had put it down purely because I was aware of how close I was to a page finish on it, and the fact that I knew that if I finished that page and started the next one and then it got called on WIPGO for a page finish, I would feel obligated to finish the next page. And I've got other stuff I want to work on. So there is a hanging purple thread. I apologize for hanging purple thread. It's because I'm doing lots of background. So this is stitched on. You look at that. Oh, look at my cards. This is stitched on 18 count pearl flecked white Ada. I started it on the 8th of September 2016. Apparently, I don't know if you can see. I can see the sparkles at the top. I don't know if you can. But but yeah, it's very crunchy. It tends to stay in the, it stays in the Q-snap because it stays rolled up. So that's that one. So yeah, page finish. You can see there's the page line. I think I've basically just got to do this kind of the rest of this snowflake. There's some bits of snowflake here that need filling in. Yeah, and then that will be a page finish. So I will get that done this month. The other one that was called was 16, which for me is to do a finish. And that is on Little Alien Schoolgirl by Ink Circles, which looks like this. That is one that I started on. I started it on my birthday. Started it on my 38th birthday, where there were two, and what I had an option of one or the other of them that I was going to start. In fact, this will possibly be, I've been going back and watching, I've put all my old Flosstubes up, and I've gone back and I've watched all the way up to number 10, which was then in 2 parts because of the editing. So I've watched that, and that was the very end of 2016, and I think I mentioned Little Alien Schoolgirl in that, but I think there were two, and I had the option of one of them to start on my birthday, and then something happened, and so I went with that. So yes, so this is stitched on 32 count Belfast linen in antique white, and it is done with the charted flosses, which are all Weeks dye works. If I were starting it now, I would not pick the charted flosses. I know I was watching, I haven't seen the whole of the video, but something went up on Instagram that made me go and look, and that's Eli at Thick Threads. Had put up like a little bit of Little Alien Schoolgirl, and I was like, oh, and he said that watching his video, which I think was in his fourth Flosstube, he's mentioned he's part of an Ink Circles round robin, and Michelle Bendy Stitches has picked Little Alien Schoolgirl as her round robin project, so it's going round to various people. So I think he's the second person that's had it, so he's working on a bit of it. And it comes as, like, all those different motifs are explained on the back of the chart, which again he shows you in his thing, explained on the back of the chart and how they break down and where they come from. And the bits that have been done on that, on the one he's working on, are the bits I haven't finished. So this has come, I've taken this out of the Q-snap. It was in the Q-snap for me to finish the last bit of it, but I hadn't done it yet, so I thought, you know what, I'll take it out and show you. So it is rather crumpled. I do apologise for the crumples. So I had started at the top, that bottom kind of box bit, and the I can't do this one-handed, that bottom box bit and the crop circles are the only bit that are done, and then Eli is working on this and that, and then potentially going to do the Sandworm of Doom across the top. When I started this, it took forever because of the Sandworm of Doom, who I do love dearly, but he just took a while. So yeah, they kind of, all the different motifs are explained. Obviously, some of them are bits of just rockets, some of them are seed pods, some of them are strange three-headed birds. There's a kind of alphabety thing there. More numbers, more plants, things like that. The year it was stitched and the person who stitched it, allegedly. And there is, as I said, there is literally, I think I've got this bit of thread here is because I'm just colouring in around the heads in jars. There's 2 little bobbly things to put on that shelf, much like those, and then there is this box to fill in down the bottom, which I hadn't done yet. So this section of writing here is different to the original sampler, as you can see, and when you look at it, on the kind of explanation on the back, she obviously says, and this was designed in 2012, this one, says that this, oh, it almost looks like it could be writing. But if you go on, whether it's still on there or not, I'd gone on the Ink Circles website back when I started this, or was looking at starting it, and it is the alphabet from Futurama. So the original says one thing, This says something else. The reason I picked this to start on as my birthday start that day rather than a different project was because that was the day that Carrie Fisher died. So make of this writing what you will. And the reason I haven't done this bottom section yet is it is just these kind of weird like blobs. And on the pattern it says it's almost like it's trying to spell something out. And having looked at it and trying to work out, it doesn't make enough of sense to me. It might well be around somewhere, but I was looking at it and to me it looked like Braille. So I haven't yet finished this bit because basically what I need to do is look at the actual area that needs to be stitched, get myself a copy of the Braille alphabet and do that so that it says me and the year I'm going to finish it. Apologies, I have just whacked my tiny microphone that I bought because having watched my old Flosstubes back, some of them were very quiet and there were comments about them being very quiet, and I was trying to work out if the last one was very quiet and couldn't, and thought, you know what, I'm just going to buy a tiny microphone because if nothing else it might help a little bit, as long as I haven't thumped it and turned it off presumably. So apologies if you ended up with scruffles. I literally forgot it was there. But yeah, so I just need to work out that bottom section and then that will be finished. It should not have taken as long as it has. Again, it's the fact that my finishes don't necessarily end up finishes because I'm aware of how much it costs to get them framed. This will be getting professionally framed. So I just have to allow for the fact that when I finish it, I need to go and find like 80 quid to get that done. And then it will be on my wall for me to look at all the time and go, oh my God, I love it, rather than just in a box where I pick it out and go, I should be working on this because I love it so much. But, you know, that's what it is. I've thoroughly enjoyed working on it every time. Even the Sandworm of Doom. There's only two colours. It's three. Yeah, it's three colours in the Sandworm. So the blue is the majority, and then his little legs, and his little kind of back spiky things, I don't know, are another colour. So let's just attempt to fold that up in a sensible way, because obviously it's linen, so the minute it's come out of the thing, it's all hangy threads. So yes, so those are my WIPGO numbers. And what I had worked on and what I will be working on. There are two other things I do. I do the Out of Spite Sal, which is one that was conjured up by Dobby from Covered in Floss. And that I have been working on my Twisted Rainbow sampler for. This was a 2016 start. There are an awful lot of my projects that were 2016 starts because that's when I started watching Flosstube and that's when you all enabled me horrendously. And then, there's been bits of things started and finished since, but, a lot of 2016 stuff is still hootling along. But there we are. I definitely mentioned this in some of my old Flosstubes. I found it in a couple of them. It's been taken out of the Q-snap because no, it's not out of the Q-snap. It's lost its grime guard. So you can see that I'm stitching it sideways. So I have tried those bobbly, like fabric containing things around the Q-snap. This is tissue. I have tried those bobbly things around the Q-snap to keep the fabric in place. It's not enough of a doesn't corral it quite enough for me. So this will need this needs a grime guard putting on it. I don't think I've got a spare one. I'm going to have to take one off something else to put on it. I haven't worked out which project yet, but there will be one somewhere. I need to work on this today. I have so it's yes. Sorry, rambling. ADHD brain is just so. I need to work on this today because it's only had one real weekend's worth of work done on it. since last time. Photo. I haven't gone back and looked. I meant to go back and look at all the photos and what I put in last time, and I need to get this done today. So I've done some of them but not others. So this is where we are again. This is just the cross stitch version. It is being done on, I want to say 32 count black fabric. I didn't write that down when I started it. I did start it on the 12th of April 2016. So there we go. It is the cross stitch only version. I'm not doing the fancy stitches. I'm not using dinky diced threads because at the time I started it I was like, whoa, okay. So it's just the DMC conversion. And I don't want to restart it, so I won't go back and do it in threads. That's the only thing that is good for you, so you can see the back of it. So yeah, this needs some time on it. Today. I think I did a length of the green and maybe I think I've done some of the yellow, but it needs some more time spent on this today to get a bit more done for June, and then I'll work on it again probably next weekend as well. There are other things that I was doing instead, where I didn't want to put them down long enough to work on this, and obviously this needs daylight, because it's the easiest way to stitch on it is when you can see straight through it. The minute you put artificial light on it, you then need artificial light behind it. Let's not do that. Obviously it was not a candidate for middle of the night NHL stitching. So my no obligation Sal from Dobby was to pick up her no obligation Sal was to pick up an old project. At least take it out, look at it, give it a pat on the head. My June one was 99 by Ink Circles, which surprisingly, again, I started in 2016. I think I can't remember at the moment. Let me have a look. I think I came across it in my maybe I did not. Maybe I just talked about the fact I'd bought it. I know I must have talked about starting it, because I have watched the Flosstube episode where I'm going, look at this fabric, and one of them is the fabric that I picked for it. So I have been going through and working. I've been going through and watching them and watching myself back on like double speed as well, which is just so that I could make like all the this project got mentioned here, this project got mentioned here, etc. And it's definitely, it's not listed here, but I knew I'd shown the fabric because I was sitting there, because the episode I watched, I was like, oh, this is this fabric. I was like, that's the one I used for 99. Anyway, it's on a piece of 32 count Murano in parchment by Sparklies. I had, when I showed it to you last time, I had been working on these bottles, the N5 bottles on the middle shelf. There are 9 shelves with 11 bottles a shelf. So I took it out. It is out. It is free out of the key snap, and this is what I've done so far. So I'd done these ones, but they were under the thing and you couldn't see them. So I finished off these 5 bottles. I think I've done the shelf and the twiddly bit. I've done this shelf bit and that twiddly bit, and I've completed these 5 bottles as well, because it was actually quite a nice way to do it. I'm not good at doing 3 stitches in one colour and then stopping and changing it for something else. It drives me nuts. So with this, I could do things like I've gone along here and then I've gone up and done this, but like some of the browns, the brown carries across, the green, some of the colours carry across, so it was literally a case of like, okay, I will stitch that brown outline, I'll stitch all the bottle outlines, and then I was like, right, I'm going to stitch the red bit here and that red bit here and the red in here, and then the blue here and the blue here and the white here, and like doing it like that. So although I was maybe only putting like 4 stitches in on a bottle. Is that fluff? Why is there fluff? There is fluff. Fluff. Right, there's only 4 white stitches on that bottle. But because there are stitches over here and on here and on here, I didn't mind just doing those 4 because I could carry across. So that's those. I did go and write down. The chart gives you what all the bottles are. So she says she had done it. She'd picked bottles that were import beers and not so well known and not the kind of mass-produced brands. She'd asked friends of hers to suggest bottles. So she said every single bottle on here was suggested by somebody. Somebody went, I like this beer, pick that bottle. So I've only written down when they're on the chart. When the page they're on for the chart is in alphabetical order, and then it tells you like it's bottle 4 on shelf. It's shelf row 5, and then the bottles are A to K, for example. So you just have to go through alphabetically, and then it says them all there. So I wrote down which ones I've done. So starting over here and working across, we have Stonehammer Pilsner. We've got some Molson Canadian Lager, Flensburger Pilsner. This one is called Mickey's. Apricot Hefeweizen. We have Hobgoblin and am I out of sync? Stonehammer Molson. It's because I'm trying to read and hang on. The coordination is sadly lacking. Right, okay, that's better. Right, so Stonehammer Pilsner, Molson Canadian, Flensburger Pilsner, Mickey's Apricot Hefeweizen. That is Hobgoblin, which I know quite well. It's an Oxfordshire brew, but when I was at uni in Canterbury, the pub we used to go to had been, I don't remember what it used to be called, but during the time I was living there, and it was like my local pub at the end of the street, it was bought out, it became a Hobgoblin branded pub. We then have Old Speckled Hen, Wisconsin Belgian Red, Lone Star, Lowenbrau, and Beertown Brown. And then this shelf has Newcastle Brown Ale, which I did used to drink at university, Iron City Premium Lager, George Killian's Irish Red, Shiner Bock, and Tooheys New. So what I am aiming to do with that this month is to finish that shelf. That quite neatly fitted in a small Q-snap. Not the smallest small Q-snap, whichever the next size up is. So what I'm thinking is I will put it in so that I can potentially do those, I will go across and do those 6 bottles. Do the shelf, those 6 bottles. For that, at least a chunk of them. At least the kind of, multiple colours. Because obviously I have bottles to do on that one. Nearly losing the needle off Captain America, who is there because he's from Brooklyn, and Brooklyn, there is a Brooklyn brewery. I want a bottle top for it, but I haven't got one. So yes, I've been working on that. Other things, because I was trying not to do the page finish on Frozen, one of my other very neglected projects I picked up is Lion King, which I bought as a kit from Cross Stitcher magazine. That got mentioned in a couple of my old Flosstubes. I started it on the 6th of May 2016. It's on 28 Cashel linen in rustic. Apparently, I know I have to send it back. I'd forgotten it until I saw it in the Flosstubes. I'd had to send it back because I'd ordered the kit with linen. And so I thought, yeah, it's actually my first linen project. Ordered it with linen, then sent it with Ada, I had to send it back, then they sent it again, and there were colours missing. So that was fun. The other thing that when I was looking at it that I realised that made me laugh was last time I'd shown you an issue of Cross Stitcher. I'm very sorry if I just made you seasick. I've just stuck my foot out and kicked the stand, and I was trying very hard not to do that because I've had to stop and redo this because I'd done about 15 minutes of it and then realised I was rhythmically kicking the stand the whole time. So you were just like bubble, blah, blah, blah. Nobody needs motion sickness when you are supposed to be watching somebody sitting in a room. But yes, so yeah, cross stitcher. It actually turns out to be a pattern by Durene Jones, where every other time I've seen her patterns, I've gone, oh no, too much backstitch. There is no backstitch on this one. So yes, so this is Lion King. It came as a kit and had finishing instructions for how to turn it into a pillow. I don't think I'm going to turn it into a pillow because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But here he is. He's lovely. I call him Parsley, which is from a very old British kids television show called The Herbs. I will attempt to remember to find a video of it on YouTube and put the link below, in case you are intrigued or you've also just gone, oh my god, I'd forgotten about them. But anyway, this is Parsley. So I think I took a picture before I started working on it, in which case that's there. I know I filled in some of the darker orange here because I've just got that bit left to do. I know I filled in this. I know I've done some of his stripes, and I've done some of that pink, and I know I've done the blue, some of the blue anyway, because I know I've done this bit because I was working on this bit the other day, and then I've obviously bits of orange, and then I'm working on yellow, and this is the palest yellow in his stripes is also this, yeah, the yellow that's in here around the kind of green. I'm working on that. So that was another one where it's like I wanted to stitch on something colourful and easy and straightforward, and I was not letting myself pick Frozen up, so I was working on this and doing chunks of this. And then the next bit is the bit where I'm like, oh, I got enabled by Flosstube. Who enabled you on Flosstube, Kate? Me. I enabled myself. I was watching my old videos back and just like, oh, I'd forgotten about, that, yeah, oh, I love that project. Yeah, you do love that project. It's right there. Like I've spent about 6 videos waffling on about how much I love Anatolia by Ink Circles. It's right. It lives in the same box as Little Alien Schoolgirl. It's right there. It is on, I think, yes, page finish. That's number 17 to do a page finish on Anatolia. So, but anyway, yes, I enabled myself, but luckily I enabled myself quite handily. So I enabled myself. I had been doing, in the summer of 2016, I had been doing the, there it is, by the card. I had been working on Summer Beach Day by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I'd ordered a kit from the Makery at the time, and they'd sent that through. And then the stitch along came, I think you got the middle section, you got the bottom, and you got the top. There. And I had done the middle, I'd done the bottom, and I'd put it away in the autumn of 2016 because I wasn't feeling summery. I will pick this back up, I said, next summer when I feel summery. I didn't, did I? So this is the condition it stayed in a not even in a box. It was luckily not on a Q-snap. In a plastic wallet for quite a long time, until I was looking for something to work on that was bright colours. I didn't want to. I'd got the bulk bright colours one with Parsley. I'd done all my stitching on 99, and I was digging through a Doom box for stuff and found it and went, I could finish that. That's not going to take like literally, how long is that going to take to finish? And it probably took, I don't know, 3 evenings, maybe a couple of hours, like half concentrating stitching. So here is my finish of Summer by Frosted Pumpkin. This had annoyed me at the time because it wouldn't hold the tension. That is showing as very blue. It's more turquoisey, but it doesn't want to show. So yeah, I had been annoyed at this at the time because it just felt very bouncy. It's opalescent, as you can see, opalescent linen. It had felt quite bouncy. I couldn't get the tension right in a Q-snap to be able to stitch like two-handed without it being on a frame, if that makes sense, because I'd have it like resting. Hang on. Have it like resting like this and work like that. And this is a little bit bouncy, as you can see, but this was very bouncy, and it is one of the reasons I put it down. Also, again, you know, lots of little color changes is not really me. Also, it's very cute, but I don't know how much. And I had a batch of frosted pumpkin things. I actually went looking for it because Eli had been talking about the fabric that he'd had from the Emily C's pinwheels thing, and he'd found one and he was like, this one's actually got a start on it, what's this project? And I knew exactly what that was because that had about the same amount of start as I'd got on that particular project, which I think was like it's like famous women of the world, like amazing women, things like that. And that was a frosted pumpkin stitch along. And I'd done about as much. It was Eleanor Roosevelt, and I've done about as much of it as was on that video. But when I was digging about to find that is when I found this after watching that Flosstube. So yeah, this is the finish. This is the finish. So it's as charted. It's almost all DMC, apart from the pink for summer and a couple of the ice creams, like her bikini, her spade, a couple of things down the bottom. The surfboard is a Weeks Dye Works one. I can't remember the exact color, and then the same with the wave. Like there's some really nice variegation in the wave where it's like greeny bluey, and then that under there is like greeny bluey. The summer is, oh, that's what I've forgotten. I had, part of the problem was is I'm working on it and I'm stitching along on summer, and here is it as charted. Okay, and I was like, look at my sampler, Megan, and Megan's like, oh yeah, it says summer. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, does it? I was like, no, it doesn't. Like, now you've said that, all I can look at it and see is says summer. So I had to rejiggle. The R seems very upright compared to the other letters, but you know what? It's done. It seemed to have like very little top and a great big swoop at the bottom, as you can see. So I recharted. I worked that out. I scribbled about 15 different variations on how to change it, and then just stitched it and unpicked it a bit and stitched it. But yes, it's odd things like the mouth on the sun bugs me because it doesn't look visible enough. It's showing, the clouds show all right, like now, but to me I can't really see them. This won't end up in a. This might end up. It might end up in a frame. It's not getting professionally framed. You know, but hey, it's a finish. It's a finish. Finish. That's what that is. They don't come around that often. I've had a few more than usual this year, which I have mentioned on Instagram and will mention in my end of year roundup when I do it, whenever that is, end of the year. But I don't, because I'm doing bigger stuff, I don't tend to get finishes very often. So that's that. So I'd finished that. The other thing I enabled myself to do, now we haven't yet had 13 called to do a new start, which is sort of helpful because I have no idea what I want my new start to be. I've got 4 or 5 different things. In fact, I've got more than 4 or 5 different things. So when I went off and found, thanks Pam, I went off and found my little box. And then I found the video of me explaining it, is all of these were things I had kitted. Some of them I've potentially finished. Some of them I'm working on. Blackbird, that's Blackbird Sing by Tiny Modernist. That's the Bothy Threads kit that I'm probably not going to do. That I'm working on because I've seen that. I've not shown you any of these. you might then, I might have a look through them and pull them out. Some of them are kits, some of them are bits of things. That's a Mill Hill. That's a little Mill Hill kit, and I know I've got that one. But yeah, I didn't want to start something new, but I kind of wanted to work on something a bit different. And going back through my videos, I had found the fact that I also some credit for this goes to Stuart in Stitches, where I think I'd watched his most recent one, and then I decided to go backwards and see what all the stuff he'd pulled out of the Doom cupboard and the shelves of surprises and things like that. And obviously he does quite a lot of full coverage. So what I did is I'd gone back, and when I'd first thought about doing full coverage, I'd thought to myself, I'll pick a small one and a smallish one, and I'll start on that, and then I'll get an idea of how I want to do it, so that then I can work on my big. When I start this one, I know what I'm doing. And this is actually, and then watching the videos, I was like, oh yeah, I'd started that, and it drove me nuts. So I had sat, and I hadn't wanted to use easy count, so I had sat, and I had gridded out a piece. This is 22 count hardanger, so it's really like quite thick. And I'd gridded all this out. And watching my floss tubes and looking at things, it took 3 films to grid all that out. And I'd done it that way, I think, so because when you look at the back, it's obviously just the tiny little crosses. And I think I'd done it this way so it was easy to cut out afterwards. Actually, it probably would have been easier that way, but anyway, doesn't matter. So this is a Quick Stitch Good Witch, and I had bought, there are 6 Osgirls, and I had bought all 6. And Good Witch was the one I wanted to start with, and I've done things like this. I was looking through my Dropbox. There's a spreadsheet on there where I've listed out the threads that are needed in each of the projects and worked out which ones carry across. So it's like, finish the first one, start on the second one. Me of 2016 was really optimistic. I mean, well done, but also love, really hyperfixation much. So I'd started this, and I'd started it as 2 strands, full cross on the 22 count, and it was driving me nuts. It didn't help that I'd started doing this one because I've just watched all my floss tubes back. It's all come back horribly. I'd started doing this one because I thought it would be easier than starting on the really big one. And then the really big one, Quiet Town, in that first kind of 100 square, 10 by 10 square, has 2 colours. This one has 23. So for some reason, I thought that would be an easier start. It was not. So yeah, if I found them, I'll put a picture up here of where I got to on the first attempt for it. And I tried doing it as 2/1 full cross, then switched to 2/1 tent. Hated that because I could see all the line. I could see. I was like, it looks like lines, like someone's just on lines. It's not proper crosses. So I ripped all that out and started doing it again as 1/1 full cross, which is what we have here. And then this was annoying me because I was like, I can see. Sorry, I don't need to be getting closer. I can get closer over here. I can see too much through that. Like that's no good for me. It's too visible. So this was my second attempt at it, and that's again where I stopped. So I'd then just gone stuff it and started on the big one on Quiet Town. When I was looking at this, when I'd pulled this out of the box the other day and was looking at it, due to the fact that my brain doesn't necessarily work quite sensibly at times, and I was looking at it going, oh yeah, I did like that one, and I put all that effort into gridding the fabric, but I don't like the coverage on it. This is 22 count fabric. It's not like I can go and do it on, I can get a piece of 25 count Magic Guide, because the coverage on that will be even worse because it's a bigger number. That's not how it works, is it? It's the same way as the time I managed to quiet an entire table of people down at like 9 when I was thinking about something else and something other, and it was the fact that everything was always something 9p when you buy things. And I'd said that they should just make this jar of Marmite, I think it was 59p. They should just make it £1 because it would be easier. And everyone looked at me and like, but it's 59p, that's like an extra 41 pence. And my head had gone, 60 is an hour is £1. I don't know, it just happened. But anyway, yeah, so I'd been looking at this and going, I can't restart it on 25 count. The coverage will be even worse because it's a bigger number. No, it's a smaller number. Coverage will be fine. So once I'd had that revelation, literally this week, I think I started doing this again on Thursday. I wrote it down. Look, it's got the world's most scribbly thing. It was started on the 13th of April 2016. 2/1 full cross, 2/1 tent stitch frogged out, restarted 2nd of November 2016, 1/1 full cross. Restarted 24th of June 2025 on 25 count magic guide 1/1 full cross. And here she is. I'd actually bought this piece of magic guide to do because I was thinking that the thing I might want to start would be Steam Bee. Steam Bee is one of those ones, when I'm talking about it in old Flosstubes, I talk about doing it on black because of the background. No. I'm going to do a sentence because the top, like each corner page is just black, nothing else. It's just an entire page of black. So that's one of the ones that's possibly in my head for a new start as number 13. I've got all the threads for it, but it would be a centre start, and then I work my way out over decades, however long. But anyway, this is where this one is. Sorry, Tasha, go over there. So this is actually this will cover the full width of it. I think it's 8 inches across, which ends up being, so a page is, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 is a page, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like a sneeze of a page is across, and then down it ends up being just. If I rearrange, I mean, I need, like, this poor Q-snap is hanging on for dear life. There's not a lot of spare fabric there. I think I did it so that it would fit on here. I think I've done like five squares either way. It meant that the big piece of fabric I'd ordered for Steam Bee, I've cut in half, and half of it will do this and half of it will do another one of the Oz Girls. So yes, so I thought what I've decided to do is I think it was Kim Hollenbeck, where I'd watched one of hers. I think I was looking up stuff I was looking for hints on full coverage, and I'd found one, and she was basically, it's a massive one, and she'd just done all the black. She'd cross-countryed herself all over the place on this bed sheet and just done all the black. And then it was a case of she was going in and filling in colours. But it was usable, like, because all the black was done. It was something like she'd hang it up at Halloween or something, because it was like a Halloweeny piece, and it still looked like something. And then people every year were like, oh, what's happened? Well, what's changed in it? And I thought with this one I might well just do that, because there's a lot of black in it, because it's all kind of the black outline. So this is all hair. I keep thinking, oh, it's a bit of hair and face. It's not. It's a whole stack of hair. I've actually got the so the first time I started it, where I did the 1/1 full cross. So the 1/1 full cross, yes, I'm showing the chart, but there's not a lot of chart there, you can see. So all the orange, I'd done 2/1 full cross. The green was there where I'd done the tent stitching for it. So you can see on here, if you see that, and that bit, that's obviously where I've got to on here, so that I have literally like that. Yeah, that is a page. That's across by a page. That's the page. That's the page. So there'll be another page, and then there's, I think there's a little bit. But yeah, that's so the orange is what I've done 2/1 full cross. The green is what I'd done in then 2/1 tent, and then this one is what I'd done when I'd restarted it on the 22 count. So her face only kicks in like down here. All of this is like hair. Yeah, so I thought to myself, you know what, let's do the black. It's not as it's easier to do than Ragnarok because it's obviously 25 count, not 32 count. I wasn't worried about pulling it. I mean, I started it post hockey, so it's not like I was worried about damaging it. It got in my head, and I was like, I need to do it. I need to just do it. I need to just do it. And I bought all the threads for this, so I've got something like 6 skeins of 310. But I bought a coat like well after. I bought a cone just to use for stuff. But you know, for this one, I'll use the skeins because I bought it and kitted them up for it. So that's where we are with that one. So that's getting worked on. I haven't. Let me just find my guard with what are we doing in Flosstube? In Flosstube 16. So yeah, that's the last of my whips on that one. Yeah, so July. So plans for July is to work on finish that page finish on Frozen, finish Little Alien Schoolgirl, Twisted Rainbow Sampler for the Out of Spite Sal, 99 for the No Obligation Sal. I might do a bit more on Parsley the Lion, depending on how I'm feeling. And certainly at the moment, there's going to be a lot of. I'm going to be working on Good Witch. I want to at least finish that first, all the black on that first page. We'll see how that goes with that. But I'm like, yeah. The Lola Crow, the birds, I put that away. I put it aside, which is partly, I think, why I've ended up doing so many other things. I'd watched a video by Adelaide Stitches, and I think it was her like plan, like her mid-year whip parade. Like she'd gone through all her whips, she'd gone through, she'd split them up into sizes, and then also by the number of stitches, because she's fantastic. She uses like pattern keeper and markup and stuff like that for things, whereas I as you have seen, I am pieces of paper. So she'd gone through those, and she was like, there's a couple here that I really want to finish, and looking at what she was looking at what she'd worked on over the year so far, and she was like, if I'd put those stitches in better places, these project would be finished. And that was the thing that made me put down the Lola Crow and pick up and spend more time on 99, was because I was like, where do I want my stitches to go? Is if I'm trying to work on Lola Crow and catch up, all the color changes and the bitty things and stuff will then be annoying, because they were annoying me, because I didn't know where things were going, and I couldn't just. Obviously, there's, I think, part 6, 7. It's a toucan and I want to say a shovel, like big billed bird. Always looks like it's going to attempt to eat your head, basically. Yeah, so yeah, that's the newest piece that's come out, that came out yesterday. But I'm still not at the moment tempted to go back and pick that up again. It will probably end up like the Frosted Pumpkin Sal, where you will come back here in another 8 years and I'll be like, look what I've finished. It's the Lola Crow Sal. Hopefully it's not going to be that bad. But yeah, Adelaide made me think, where am I investing my stitches? Again, I've kind of wanted to be. I've been like, I want to do some full coverage. I want to do some work on Quiet Town. But also I haven't been doing things that have enabled me to sit and work on Quiet Town, which is partly why like Parsley got picked up, and why and then obviously I've enabled myself to restart Good Witch for that one. So that's where we are with that. Yeah, plans. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be tired, but I am. Full working week, brain fog. Brain fog is brain fog. So yeah. Frozen, page finish, Little Alien, Schoolgirl, finish. Out of Spite, Sal, Twisted Rainbow Sampler, No Obligation, Sal, carry on with 99, carry on with a bit of Good Witch, try and finish that page. I don't really have any haul. I did buy a few digital patterns. I bought the young, I can't remember if it's called Young Yaga or Young Baba Yaga from Quotidian Creations, because I think I've been going through and I'd been going through on Etsy and hearting things, and then promptly got like, oh, you favorited this, but you haven't done anything with it. Would you like, 5% off? It would be rude, not to. So I bought 3 or 4 patterns because of that. I had gone through and tidied up my emails to find one of the ones where I think I've found them all, but I haven't printed it all off because of watching old videos. I've been reminded of patterns, and watching other people's. I always think, oh, I should start a Carolyn Manning. I should do I could find this. I've got a Carolyn Manning. There was a Granny is No Square Sal, which I think was the first of the Granny Square series, and then I'd gone on her website and there's now like 15. But I only had like 2 printed off when I was going through all my stuff. I was like, why have I only got 2? Did I get the rest of them? And I've gone right through my email, found them all, stuck them into Dropbox. Haven't printed it yet, so I need to do that. So yeah, I've got some of those patterns. Young Baba Yaga. I think I bought a lighthousey thing. I bought some kind of ghosty thing. This is the Carolyn Manning. I'm trying to remember what else. I might have had a copy of Cross Stitcher, but I don't know where to put it. The only things I did buy were, I bought myself things that were absolutely not cross stitch related, but I wanted to show them to you because I love them. So Megan turned 13. Megan turned 13 last week. On the Saturday, we went into town. She wanted to go into town and go to Forbidden Planet, which is like kind of comic book, geeky shop stuff. And she basically, she was like, could I? I was like, Megan, just look around, find what you want, put it in a basket. Because she doesn't tend to ask for stuff. There's various things. There was nothing. You were like, what do you want for your birthday? Oh, I don't know. Oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe she's stuffish, but she has to see it, and she doesn't. She's never been like. She never watches adverts and thinks, oh, I want that. Anyway, we went to Food Planet. We wandered around a lot. Anthony found an original Transformers graphic T-shirt that he bought. I found a thing that I bought. Anthony then complained that we'd spent £140. Megan, you spent 140 quid in Forbidden Planet, and I had to point out to him that the thing I bought, or the thing he bought for me, was £40. Yeah, I was looking, I couldn't see the light. It was £40. So not as clunky as it sounds. I deeply love Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. It is possibly my favourite book of all time. I'm trying to work out how to design cross stitch for it that does it justice, but not the Studio Ghibli anime film, but the book. But I saw this there, which is obviously from the Studio Ghibli thing, and it's Sophie's hat shop. It's the Hatter's hat shop sign, and it basically hangs off a door and works as a hook. So that is usually now up here in my office room. Yeah, it was a bit expensive, but at the same time, I'm aware that things like this, they definitely have to import. There were some other things in there that weren't as expensive. They had a keyring. They had a Howl keyring, which, if you've seen, it was for the spinny thing on the door, which is absolutely nothing like the one in the book, and so therefore no. But it was 20 quid for a keyring, which made this suddenly seem a lot more reasonable. So that says Hatters. It is actual. It's proper metal. that lives on my door may have something hung on it at some point, but it just makes me smile when I see it. The other thing is, we, as part of her like wander around town, the other place we went into was Claire's Accessories. Some of you will have a mind like mine and know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you won't. Is I'd seen this. This is something called a palm pal, and this was sitting on a display. I couldn't work out what it was supposed to be at all. I know what it looked like to my brain, because my brain is my brain, but I couldn't work out what it's supposed to be for anybody else until I looked at the back of it, and obviously it's a cowboy boot, or a cowgirl boot because it's pink. Obviously it's a cowgirl boot. It's a cowgirl boot. And Megan went, "What's that?" And I went, it's a cowgirl boot. And she went, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, the label says it's a cowgirl boot." And we opened it, and we looked at the label, and the label doesn't say it's a cowgirl boot. It also says it's Kate, the cowgirl boot. So that's why it came home with me. But that was literally, that's what I got out of the shopping trip. I got a metal hangy thing and that, and there isn't anywhere to buy cross stitch in town anymore. They had some stuff in the works, but it wasn't really anything. For that, there's a couple of things I've got my eye on. I've got a backdated, like performance related. I went up a bump in my pay band, and then there was something going on with that, so I get paid that on Monday, and the chunk of that is backdated to April. And I don't think it's much, but it's like maybe an extra 50 quid, so I might be like, oh, maybe I should spend that on something. I don't know what. I don't need any new starts. I have enough stuff. Probably. I'm quite tempted. There's thread boxes. Various people have shown different like thread subscription things they're signed up to, and I thought, oh, there was a pattern that somebody had shown that I thought, oh my god, I love it, and the threads are amazing. And I went off and I looked up the threads, and I looked up the silks that come, and then I realized that pack of silks, when I converted the cost, was going to cost me something like £200 just for the thread. So I closed out, went away from that. I deleted the screenshot I'd taken of the pattern, going, oh, I love this. No. I need to save my money because I need to get this room pretty and buy stuff for that. But yes, okay, I have waffle. This is over an hour. I wasn't trying to make it over an hour. I was trying to keep it under an hour. Obviously, I waffle too much. It must mean it's probably about, it's 2 o'clock. It's 10 to 2. So my stomach's rumbling now, and it's quite warm in here because it's quite a hot day outside. So I am going to go away. If you have sat here for this long, bless you. You are my favourite. I know I'm right at the end. I had written a list of people I meant to mention in this. I can't remember if I mentioned all of them, but they will go in the blurb. But just I will see you probably. I will probably end up doing this again when the next, like the weekend after the next WIPGO, so probably the end of July, maybe. I don't feel like I've got enough. Like I'm working on enough. Like I have enough time to do stuff to show you every other, like even. Apologies. Quad bike thing, motorbike thingamybobs from one of the neighbours. I don't do enough to show you even every 2 weeks, let alone every week. Partly because like the filming, and then I'm going to go and edit it, and otherwise that would obviously be like an hour and 2 hours, 3 hours of stitching time. So I definitely wouldn't be stitching enough to show you. But yeah, so about a month. I need to remember, because I filmed this last month, I didn't then put like this is what I did for WIPGO up on my Instagram. My Instagram is the same as my channel name. It's Petronella Rose. It is not purely stitching dedicated. So you do get random things like cats in high-vis vests, like we saw on holiday, as well as then the stitchy stitchy stuff in between it. I did try having a separate cross stitch Instagram. It didn't work. I couldn't keep up with it. I need to go because I want this with this beginning and end to be under an hour and 10. So thank you if you have stayed here. Thank you for the people who are new subscribers. I love you all. I'll translate at the beginning next time so you don't then have to sit through to the end. I hope you look after yourselves. I hope you're having a nice summer. I hope you can escape with your stitching and avoid the general world. But yes, look after yourselves, and I shall see you at the end of July.